don't want to be that guy, but if you were among the people saying Uraha returning kind of sucks and that this doesn't make sense for Samura and his goals, here you go. This chapter is for you. At this point, I am convinced that Hokuzono is on Twitter looking at the controversy, because I don't think he could have explained this in a clearer way that cannot be misinterpreted. He genuinely walks you through step by step on how all of this came together. Now, for a majority of people, this shouldn't be that surprising. It just gives us more context, more clarity, more confirmation, and really emotionally brings things full circle. It feels nice to be rewarded that way. But for a small percent of people, this might be eye-opening. Hell, you might not even be convinced. You might think things are still fake, or you might not like it. The truth of the matter is, for the past 6 months, legitimately, a lot of people have known exactly what this chapter has given us. I say known, but more theorized. The general idea that Hokuzono is trying to bring across. Of course, we can't know things for certain, but you start to see a bit of a pattern, a bit of a formula, and if you're trying to jump into the mind of the author as much as possible, sometimes a lot of those things can hit. The way Uraha died and was played upon, even talked about, led us to believe that he was alive. We connected the dots that only Samura could be the one to save him, potentially having an ability that could revive people. He got an ability that revives people. Smash those two things together and you have this situation. Look, it's never about predicting things accurately. There's no gold medal for guessing things correctly. It's all love and fun at the end of the day. Everyone can kind of collectively come together, share so much or so little these crazy ideas, and then we can all kind of piece things together. Right? What isn't fun is kind of thinking that this is horribly depicted, because it all works, it all makes sense, it's all very beautiful, it's all been there for 8+ months now. I don't know how much clearer it was needed for Samura to outright say that he has no malice towards the sword bearers. We've been known that. Just looking at Samura as a character, the way he is depicted emotionally, would make no sense for him to have any sort of anger for the sword bearers. While it is represented as a front that he has to kill all the sword bearers, it is a burden that he is reflecting onto himself. And genuinely, since the beginning, it has always been that way, that he is directing inwards. That is the most important thing. And I think it's the biggest thing that people glossed over. Samura has a very big guilt. He is scared of the malediction, but he is not a monster. He wants to kill the sword bearers to save them from this fate. He wants to do this alone. He wants to atone for his sins alone. He will not and cannot make that judgment for other people, because that would be hypocrisy. He cannot atone for his own sins if he's passing that judgment to other people. He is not judge, jury, and executioner of other people's fate, but he is that for himself. That has been clear since the beginning. It was doubled down upon and explored when we introduced his daughter, his emotional depth, how much he feels for his daughter, how scared he is for malediction was valid. It's what started this whole thing. If you can understand what he was feeling when it came to his daughter, pushing her away and sacrificing that relationship, taking away her autonomy, as bad as it is, that is not only the sin that he has to atone for, but the guilt and burden that he has to bear. Unfortunately, when it comes to his daughter, it becomes complicated because she had no choice in the matter. She lost a mother, then gained a father, then lost that father, then lost herself, then regained herself, and then regained her father, only to potentially lose him again when he dies. Iori is human. She is just a child, and her father is making these choices with the best interest for her, but she cannot view it that way because she views him as a father, and Samura is stuck with burdening himself and dying alone. So what better way to bridge this conflict than to have someone that understands him, that shares a similar fate? Chihiro for a majority of the story, especially the beginning. It's important to note that Chihiro felt burdened to do this, that he was the one that would get the swords, go out there and take on all of this death and injury to do what was right. Keep in mind, when all of this stuff was happening, and still is, Chihiro is young. He's a child. He is thrown into this world that he should have never been thrown within. His autonomy was taken away from him. His choice was taken away from him, similar to Iori, similar to Hirohiko, similar to Hakuri, similar to Uraha, similar to the children of Kagurabachi. And I've talked about this before, so I won't retread the same water, but it's important to note that the sins of the adults within Kagurabachi has directly influenced and quote-unquote cursed the choice and lifestyle of their children. Unfortunately, all the protecting and all the guarding means almost nothing if your child goes down this path anyway. Maybe they go down this path because you were not there. Maybe they go down this path because you have died and left them alone. Maybe they go down this path because you created those weapons to begin with. The thing is, you just don't know the future. You just don't know what fate has installed. What you can do is judge people on their actions now and how they evolve, how they change, how they respond to what's in front of them. And what's in front of Chihiro and Samura right now is each other. They share the same fate, they want the same thing, but their approach to doing it is different. Chihiro has changed. He's no longer alone. He has a support group. He has friends, basically a family that are willing to support him, that are willing to die for him, and that's important. That's valuable. Funny enough, Samura has the exact same thing, but he has just steeled his resolve over so much more that he's unironically blind to his own family, his friends, his support, and wants to take that burden for himself, to die alone while taking out Magatsumi. The fight between Chihiro and Samura is one that is emotionally leaning. There's a lot riding on here because they're not fighting to the death. They're not fighting to obliterate each other off the map with bloodlust. That's a different fight, and we've seen it with Sojo. This fight is a battle of morals, a battle of conviction, a battle of awakening. One of the most impressive things that launches this fight is the very first clash. Samura does something very interesting. Pushes Chihiro into a room and closes the door. So they're separated by the door and the hotel room. Chihiro doesn't move, and they initiate the drawing style. You can interpret that a lot of ways. Samura did not want Chihiro to view any of his stances, to not be able to see him, to put them on the exact same playing field of fairness. Samura wanted to give Chihiro a chance to survive. But my favorite one, Samura knows that Chihiro will respond in full force. So putting a literal blind spot between them is vital to win. A key thing to remember with how Samura draws his sword is that he is in tune with every single sound imaginable, but he's also in tune with bloodlust, and Chihiro has controlled that. For the first time, we're seeing a stance be modified in real time. Chihiro is playing defensively using the drawing style, which is definitely an evolution of it. Ever since this drawing style was brought into the story, it's always been pushed as being aggressive. You are the attacker, and while you can defend against it, you also have to be aggressive and the attacker. So two attackers will cancel each other out somewhat. We've seen it with Hirohiko and Chihiro coming out of the elevator. What we are seeing is the opposite. A complete defensive stance against an attacker. By all means, this should technically fail, but because it is an evolution and because Chihiro is so locked in, this is what he does. He brings new things into his realm of possibility and has charged up a defensive drawing style that works perfectly for him. That the fastest person, the most aggressive, the most dangerous of this drawing style has now been deflected and blocked successfully. Mind you, this is a fully charged attack on both fronts. This is beautifully symbolic. Samura being the aggressor and Chihiro playing defensive. I don't know how much more it could spell it out to you. If by any means Chihiro decided to draw aggressively like he did with Hirohiko against Samura, he would have died. he would have lost. There's no way he would have matched that speed or that agility, especially with a blind spot in front of him. This is a beautiful chapter, and I hope for that percentage of people it clears up a lot of misconceptions. Seeing Uraha's reaction to being alive and putting things together piece by piece, then opting to be the choice of being a smoking ace, so he's hiding in plain sight, no one knows he's alive, including the Kabanabi. Samura and Uraha even had the conversation prior to him dying. Full stop, T's are crossed, I's are dotted, there's no more you need. Now we are all caught up, we are all on the same page. What you're witnessing is something very, very emotionally heavy, very beautiful, and I am incredibly excited to see how it comes to a conclusion. This is a big moment, a big turning point for both Chihiro and Samura, but we are in a critical moment with the invasion of the Kabanabi. Anything is possible, so I hope this fight pulls out all of the stops. We all need that.